Hi guys, my name is Enkel Brintrup. I'm editor-in-chief of Cupcakes and Milk, and I have had the good luck of connecting with Damien Athope and finally get to pick his brain a little bit, ask him questions, in a way sort of turn the tables and have him just really just lay it on thick without any barriers. And what we focus on Cupcakes and Milk is absurdity. Oh, my battery just died there. Look at that. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead. You're back.
Can we re-roll it?
Yeah. You can just go right now.
Okay, thank you. Hi, guys. I'm Enkel Brintrup from Cupcakes and Milk. I'm here with Damien Athope, and today we're actually turning the table. All we're going to do is ask him a few questions and let him rip, literally, because it's actually useful. It's what we crave on an intellectual level that we are focusing our atheism on. And he's a very, very particular atheist. And I'm learning more about this myself and figuring out that I'm more like him. And he's an axiological atheist, which means values, ethics, humanity. Put that together, and it kind of helps you ridicule everyone else who doesn't value that first. But it doesn't mean it's the best thing. It's just what works for him. And again, like I said, we're here because I'm learning about myself, healing. He's allowed us a space to go ahead and speak. And we're hoping he doesn't fucking hold back at all. Guys, without further ado, Mr. Damien Athope.
Right on. Hi, I'm Damien Athope, and I'm an axiological atheist. And to make it simple to understand, just think of it's a ethical, reasoned, and a moral argument-driven form of atheism. But it's so much more really than that. Because an axiological means that you are following either value theory or value science. Value theory is the philosophy side. Basically, the simplest way to understand it, it doesn't involve math, and it doesn't involve some of the rigors that the scientific form of axiological thinking applies, especially the form of axiological scientific thinking. The biggest difference besides the math, which is usually calculus, the biggest difference really is that the scientific requires that you start and end almost in science. So this means that it sees itself as something that a religion could use, but that not that it uses religion. In other words, it would say that an axiological approach to ethics, or an axiological awareness when you apply ethics, would actually be useful for everyone in humanity, not just a religious, non-religious. It's understanding how to properly assess value, and then the application from morality then germinates from that. In other words, before you say something is moral, you've already presupposed some value to it. When you say a human has worth, when a human has value, you are making an axiological statement about a thing. So the question for axiology isn't just what do you value. It should also be almost an epistemological question of why do you value it. Because see, you should have to give justification in a sense for any time that you're asking someone else to also equally value something. And this is what really the property that's involved in morality. It involves two different, people. Always, to me, when you're having ethics, it's really when you're having a social environment that you're interacting in. When you're having, to me, when you use the word just moral, like I say, I'm a moral person. To me, moral difference is morals is the personal sphere. Morality, to me, is like the whole genre. It's the whole thing together. But then under morality is the morals, and then there is ethics, and then to me there's also values, because all these actually are part of what we call morality. Generally, though, when we say morals, if I say I'm a moral person, what I'm making a claim at is I'm doing some behaviors that equal that. In other words, I have to be accurate. That's what axiology requires and is looking for. Is there accuracy to the real world, to a real thing, to a real idea, and its value that's been given? So this is important because when people say, oh, well, everybody's idea is the same. No, it's not. Even bad ideas are not the same. In other words, if you had a bad idea and asked me, can I write my name backwards? That's a bad idea. Here's a worse idea. Let's rob a bank. That's a worse idea. And axiologically, we can assess one is not the same as the other. And it helps us to also understand there's a breakdown somewhere in between, is there not? Somewhere between stealing a pack of gum and committing mass genocide, there's a large swath of actual places of different levels of good, different levels of bad. So we need to understand that axiology helps us navigate morality in a way that hasn't been approached before, to me. Or at least I feel like that maybe if people are doing it, they're doing it more accidentally, or they're doing it more intuitively. But if we can actually start to systematically do it, to see value, to actually give value, to utilize value, to restore value in things that they should be, it changes everything. To me, you realize when you change your values, you change your life. Because see, what values are is like a lens that we see things. So, like, let's just say, if someone said, I'm going to give you a car to use, right? Your friend. And you said, great, right? And they give you a car. The act of the car and the given doesn't change. But if I change the value of the car, in other words, if I give you a $300 car or a $300,000 car, you certainly are not going to behave the same. Although the generosity of the giving to a friend a car didn't change. The fact that you had a car with wheels that moved didn't change. Probably even your thankfulness, in a sense, didn't change much, except because you realized the value. You're going to act totally different with a car that's $300,000 than you would have $300. Now, this is very important because this is actually, to me, what is one of the biggest reasons why people can dehumanize others. Because they simply remove the value. They look at the $300,000 car and all they see is the $300 car. They inaccurately are having a violation of the axiology that's the actual axiology. They're creating often a pseudo-axiology. They're placing a pseudo-value, or they're devaluing wrongly something that does have value. In other words, if I said, if I have a gold coin, and we know the gold coin monetarily is worth, say, $1,000 or something. But you say, nope, it's only worth a penny. No matter how much you claim that axiological status of the value, you're wrong. You're not maybe wrong. You are 1,000, 100, whatever percent wrong. You're totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't, it's the axiological value status of many things is actually not even subjective, but objective in the framework, though, that it's in. In other words, the universe obviously doesn't have a value for gold. You know, and possibly even space aliens. Maybe they like carbon to eat. Maybe they don't like gold. So
they don't like gold, yeah.
Well, my point I'm saying is that maybe they have no use for it, or no perceived use for it. Maybe it's actually they have something so much better that it makes gold look stupid. Why would you even care about gold? We have platinum or something. Anyways, I'm saying is, so the value that we see really is something we've placed. We do this all the time. So it's not inaccurate to place value intentionally or to realize value that's there intentionally. Because in a sense, that's just being accurate. So in other words, we're not creating axiology is not creating something out of nothing. It's basically saying, like if I said, what's a good cup to you? Well, a good cup must have good cup qualities, right? See, but that means we already have to have the concept of a cup. So before the question starts, it already assumes that humans are defining things, right? See, because if humans define what a cup is, in other words, a fish doesn't know what a cup is, in a sense. I mean, maybe if they talked, maybe they would, but even if they could know, how much use would really a cup be besides maybe pouring water in their tank if they were in a fish tank? But I mean, the concept, the usefulness of a cup would be, how would they judge a good cup? They would have to use, I guess, our judgment, what a human thinks a good cup is, right? Because to them, the same thing that we do when we have a fish tank. We have to figure out which fish work together. So we have to understand value. We have to understand how much value they place on, say, hiding holes. Some animals need hiding holes. It's almost part of their psychological makeup. So we understand that value they have. We don't have that value. What the fuck do you need hiding holes for? You know what I'm saying? But then again, we do. We call them houses. You know, right? We have hiding holes. We do. But in a sense, the reason we can understand it's the same, though, is really because we're just removing all the things that are different and looking at this axiology. In a sense, the use is the same. That we're both putting value in a structure that provides safety or a feeling of well-being, or a place where we can put our stuff that we feel like is not able to be, so easily taken from others.
Yes.
So really, that's all morality is. It really is ours trying to interact with others in a way that is as least harmful as possible and as mutually beneficial to both as possible. That's, to me, should be almost like a goal. It's just because every time that we better the world around us, we actually get to benefit by living in a better world around us. At least to me. And I know that to me, a lot of times, even when I'm in a bad environment, it's still a lot of times still my own choice of how I feel. I realized a long time ago, and I have a quote in this, it says that, freedom of the mind is some of the most lasting freedom. Just like pain of the mind is some of the most lasting pain. Because the mind keeps going. Your events change, they stop, they cease, but your mind keeps going, in a sense, keeps thinking. Even from a childhood, you keep regurgitating our lives over and over again. Just like, to me, even that, we can place the new value on that. Our old ideas, right? If we're axiological, we can look back at our lives, look at these trauma events, and they had all this power in them. And we can just remove some of the power. We can put the value back because they weren't very valuable in our life.
1 second, please.
Yeah.
I'm having to do that switcheroo.
No problem.
Man, I got questions for you, man. This is gonna be good.
Right on, so ask questions.
My first question is gonna be probably the most fucked up one.
Wow.
Can you hear me okay?
Well, whatever. I don't know how it can be fucked up, but go ahead.
I'm thinking of what goes on in people's homes in which different axiologies apply.
Oh, that's common. All the time.
When we look at what you describe as axiological atheism, it sounds a lot like it's human driven, it's ethics first. And I think we touched base on that in our prior call.
Yes.
And it lit me up because it's, right? And there's a term for that, and people need to hear that more often. It's not getting around, it's still getting suppressed. But axiology applied to something like Christianity. Mm-hmm. Okay.
There is Christian axiologists. In fact, there's more of them right now than there are of us. But believe me, I am coming for them. Oh, and by the way, if they watch this video and they want to take me on, axiological Christians or axiological Muslims or axiological Hindus or whoever, please be your guest. I would love to debate you on axiology.
Now, what's the difference between an axiological atheist and perhaps an axiological Christian? Let's start there.
Okay. So, axiology, as I said before, is value theory or value science. So, and when it says value, you have to understand that an axiologist sees value not just as limited to the word value. It's just explaining that how you see worth in things, how you see goodness. So if you use the words good, worth, right, value, all goodness, whatever, all those, or evil or bad or any of those kind of words, all those are value words. See, we're like condemning something. We're like putting we're honoring something. We're giving it praise. So it's good. We're just praising it. So to me, the first thing to understand that. So you just understand that's what axiology does. So now you just add what the person believes. So they already think that they know value and can see good and bad. That's what axiology means. So just add the belief to it. Now you know what they think. So an axiological theist, they would believe that the proposition of a God would be worthwhile, whether or not there's a God, They would think that God is real and is needed for morality. It actually is beneficial to humans. In fact, humans would be worse off if there was not a God. And this is the same thing that happens too with an agnostic. That's an axiologist in a sense. An axiological way to if you're an agnostic about axiology, because that's what you're really being in. Think of it almost backwards. So it's almost like whatever you are, axiology in a sense, not the other way around, to think mentally. So a agnostic who's thinking axiologically would approach the God question in a sense and say, I don't know what a God is. I don't know if there is a God. I don't know if there's not a God. I don't know if God's valuable. I don't know if God's not valuable. I'm not sure if the God concept is good. I'm not sure if the God concept is worthwhile. I'm not sure if I should, make a judgment or anything. But because I do not, see axiology again, because I do not, I have to err on the side of caution. Because I do not want to worship or support or think positively about a negative thing. So it's better to be reserved. And so an axiological agnostic would almost act like an axiological atheist, sort of, in the fact that they would just reject the concept. Because they would say, I do not want to support something bad. So I don't know what it is, so I will not acknowledge it. An axiological atheist takes the step further and goes, oh yeah, the God concept? That shit is bad. It's harmful. Even if it's fake. Completely harmful. In fact, it's actually killed people. Just the concept. Yeah. Think about the concept in general. As an axiological atheist, what the concept means to me, what I hear is that a God can actually remove my humanity. How can I, as a humanist, stand for that? You are saying that a God's rights, that a God's wishes, supersedes my rights and my wishes. I cannot think of a more anti-humanist concept than God as an axiological atheist, because I see what it's trying to do with the term. It is trying to remove my power. It is trying to remove my freedom. It is trying to remove my rights. It is trying to subjugate me under oppression. And for an axiological atheist, I find that personally offensive, and I find it humanitarianly damaging. I cannot stand the God concept anymore if I wanted to. I truly see how evil, vile, and destructive just the concept, regardless if it's true or not, has harmed humanity, is unspeakable. And yet, people act like it is a positive thing or it doesn't matter. As an axiological atheist, I am sickened by just the concept and what the heck it's done. Now, if there is a real God, as an axiological atheist, the feeling would be, well, now I can hate something that's real. I can be on direct opposition to something that I already knew was trying to, as an idea, take away humanity. Now you tell me there's a real being that's trying to take away humanity. How much more? Am I even more powerful? Am I even more wanting to fight this enemy of humanity that they call God? To me, any being, as an axiological atheist, that demands worship is already proving it doesn't earn it. It doesn't deserve it. And you should not in any way do it. But let me explain real quick axiological atheism, because it's actually even more involved than just the belief position towards the God. Axiological atheism, like I said before, starts in humanity because the God concept is bullshit. So there's no reason to waste a second of your life on this bullshit. You should be focusing on humanity. So people always go Damien, don't be so personal with your atheism. Don't put so much kindness and humanity and all that and crying and caring and feminism and gay rights or whatever. See, then you don't understand me at all. Because that's more important to me than my atheism ever could be. In fact, I could give a fuck about atheism. I really care about humanity. I just happen to be godless. And I know that people that are not understanding how the importance of being godless because of being axiological atheists and even believing the concept is toxic. that I have to speak out a bit. I have to be a very firebrand vocal atheist because people are still under this subjugation of God, this thing that's a vile anti-humanist concept that has been killing humanity for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So
personally, I like to see one of these guys show up and go, "Look, we're real," because we base our lives.
Yeah.
And here's just a blanket, everyone as a whole, right? Whether you believe in God or don't believe in God, you base your life based on the idea of an afterlife or no afterlife. To me, it seems like these people that need a God are steadily trying to do two things. They're trying to find out how to manipulate emotionally, which is coercive, right? We call that religious abuse now. It's fantastic. There's a term, and Seattle's doing something about it. Thank you. And the other thing is they're always seeking to impose their limitations on others. It's never per se your own limitations. If you and I were going to go rock climbing today, after your accident, it probably wouldn't.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
Until I get surgery,
Yeah, so it's putting an undue burden on people for no other reason other than for the sake of fucking them. And I've heard this word thrown a lot in the circles I roll in. We call it God armor. It turns out that if you just research endocannabinoids and the ECS in the brain, you kind of begin to put that together. You don't really need words to strengthen yourself or your resolve. Really, I mean, this is an actual system in the brain, within the brain.
Right.
That helps synapses. It helps you move and store information, and it helps cell regeneration. And they're busy ritualizing the drinking of blood. I find it offensive as a humanist, as an axiologist. I guess I'm going to call myself an axiologist.
Axiologist. Well, you have to make.
Axiologist.
Well, an axiologist, but I would say an axiological atheist or an axiologist who's godless, because you could be an axiologist who's not godless. So make sure you always. I am an axiologist because I always put value first. Because that's what matters. We live and we're real people. In other words, that's what I'm saying. When I don't mean that I don't like. I love atheism, but what I'm trying to say is that if you ask me what's more important, an idea or a person, that is a no-brainer for an axiologist.
Yeah.
Person, the question is odd. What? Then you don't know what axiology is if you think that you should be able to put an idea before a person.
Yeah.
Dude, you are because once again the value. If you would have said how much value does a human see, we see it as a hierarchical structure in a sense, or a level, or how you want to put it, but the higher the being has intelligence, the higher the being has feelings. In other words, so for me especially, all beings that can feel then have a dignity. If you can feel pain, you have a dignity because you have something that can be harmed in a sense. So that doesn't mean that we have to give them all equal rights. It just means that we have to understand they all deserve consideration. They all deserve, including bugs, including everything. Things that are alive deserve, especially that can feel pain. And then, to me, the level of pain, the more that's psychological, some of it is just reactionary at the lower animals, like insects. They barely can feel any pain at all to nothing. They're just totally reactionary. And as it goes up the level of consciousness and experience, because one of the things that to me, what the humans do that animals don't do as much of, or is not as common to do, that humans do like all the time, we think in the future. We also can be threatened in the future. In other words, I can tell you in the future, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to come to your house 2 years from now, and I'm going to, kick your dog or something. I'm not saying I'll do that. I'm just making a comment. Someone could say that, and it will bother you. Even if you knew it was a joke, it still might bother you. Like it's not a joke. This just shows how fragile humans are, man. We are so to me, we're really dignity beings. We have to see ourselves as that. What I mean by dignity is not some magical thing. It's just a real world property that we're sensitive people. We're emotional beings. Neuroscience has already proved that we are emotional beings that have this thinking strategy called reason. We're not reasoning beings that are emotional. So this is real important, though, but that's just the correct ontology of humans. But see, when we understand, though, that we're not limited to the only ones that have emotions. We have to look at the hurting of others. And it shouldn't be limited to just, that we're like me humans, or even like me race, or like me, but also there's animals that we should be filling stuff for, dolphins, for elephants, for, other primates. I don't think that means that, once again, axiological, it's not black and white. It's not 100% everything and 100% nothing, So that's how you're able to fine tune. It's why, to me, grasping axiology is so important for morality in general. That's why it's connected to morality. It does morality and aesthetics. That's why it can assess beauty or worth in the world, because it does aesthetics. So it does morality valuing and aesthetics valuing. It allows it to process anything in the world, anything in the idea world, in a sense, mental world. But all it really is, it's not like it's some magic. It's just a structure. It's like when people have, let's say, a syllogism or something in philosophy, or they say in math, 1 + 1 = whatever, or whenever you do, a certain thing, you do this, you always do this first, or that, it's just telling you like a standard of how to do it. And that's, to me, what really all it does. Axiology just makes you very aware that you need to be careful not to 100%. It's like generalizing. It's almost like axiology tells you stop generalizing about morality. That's what it's almost doing. Saying start to be fine-tuned, be careful. I mean, like if you said, well, hitting is wrong. True, but there's a difference in me going like this and poking you once with my finger and then, reaching back from Texas and smacking you in the face. There's a massive difference. Both are hitting, and both hitting is wrong, but certainly the one punching is worse than touching with the finger. And it's really not that complicated. It's just slowing down, being aware, putting a grid and realizing that don't generalize. Stop generalizing. Look at the details. Don't be so quick. Don't be so loose in your morality. Don't be so loose in your thinking. Slow down, structure it, form it, make it, because see what happens when you do that, just like you do a sport, what you're doing is you're building the needed skills to actually improve your accuracy. And since morality is a big deal, it should be to fucking everybody. Like the entire world, there should be no one that morality, since we all are and have to live with each other.
If that were the case, we wouldn't have churches.
Yeah. But so everyone knows we need morality. So this is a big deal. We all really should get the axiology. So that's real important to me.
It's hugely important, and I'm glad we're touching on that. Do you remember how last time we talked, I told you about me getting hit in the head?
Yes.
By my daughter and knocking me out.
Can you go ahead and tell for background? Yeah, go ahead and tell other people so they know.
Like almost 2 years ago. I think it was even now. I remember the date. I remember everything now, which is fun. Oh my goodness, I love cannabis. So April 8th, 2 years ago, I'm feeding my daughter. She's about, I want to say almost 8 months at the time.
Yeah.
And we're sitting on the couch. She's on my lap. I have food underneath me, between my legs. I reach down to grab the food. She bends over with me. And I come back up, and she just busts ass, right? Comes right back up, pops me in the jaw, knocks me out cold.
Wow.
Okay? Long story short, I didn't get my head checked for a couple days. I didn't get my head checked till I started to puke and shit myself.
Wow.
So it was a fantastic blow. It was perfect. My jaw was unhinged. I lost a bunch of weight because I couldn't chew food, so I was just on shakes. And it was a whole reset. It was a total reset. Too much after. It ended up resulting in a grade 3 type B concussion. Grade level 3B. So worst of the worst, right? And right now I'm still dealing with some of the consequences: noise sensitivity, light sensitivity, hyperactiveness in my brain, just all over the place, pulsating. I mean, headaches like you won't believe, sensitivity to electricity, to weather. I love Seattle, but I think right now I'd be on the ground going, fucking shoot me. Just because when there's too much moisture in the air now, I don't function well. So
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And again, I literally had to sit with headphones for about 6 months. I couldn't sleep in the same bed as my wife and my kid. I slept on the couch for 6 months. I avoided almost everything dealing with noise. Even the dentist, I just couldn't. The eye doctor, I couldn't go to the eye doctor. It's too much. And I was invaded by fire ants. Right? Speaking of this, and I'm trying to figure out, and all I see is poison, and all I see is chalk, and then I see vinegar, and then I see all these horrible things fucking people do to animals. And I don't know why I care after this injury.
Yeah.
Okay, I just know I'm sensitive to everything. My cats, I have 2 Maine Coons, they would leave me alone. They just would not leave me alone. They're purring all the time around me. And it turns out that their frequency in certain purrs allows for a tissue growth, neurological tissue growth.
Wow.
So
I hadn't heard that.
Also, having them around reduces stress. I mean, they're playing all the time. They're nipping at me all the time. They're literally talking to me. They just got big yip at me. You know. And I noticed I'm being overrun by ants. I have them only around water. It's hot as fuck outside. It's during one of those hot years, right? And I've hired a pest control company that comes every 2 months. But I like to let the cats out. Mm-hmm. And I have a daughter. So if we go outside and she touches anything, she's going to get poison on it. But it's all natural. It's not going to harm me. Fuck you. Harms everything.
Yeah.
By the way, the moment I have the pest control in, I get overrun by spiders. Why is that? Okay. Well, turns out it's something like this. I go out and put a saucer of water in one of the pathways that the ants are using to get into my house. And within 30 seconds, they're going at that waterway, and the ants that were going toward my house have done a full 180 and are coming back to the saucer. And then
so they want the water
everywhere.
Yeah.
They're thirsty. Okay, they're out of water. There's nothing going underground. Lake Mead over here is fucking empty. Looks like a toilet. Coming into my house.
I lived in Vegas for about a couple months. So I was a truck driver. Well, maybe almost a year or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And they within a day they were completely out of my house. All of the fucking ants gone. This also brought on another issue, right?
Do you have a humidifier? Do you have a humidifier in your house? Because I know I did when I was in Vegas. We had a humidifier.
Yeah, I have a humidifier.
And so probably they could smell it.
Yeah.
They smelled the freaking water. They're like, "Hey, man, there's water like for days in that place. It's in the air."
No one looks at those ants and says, "Look, maybe they're thirsty. We're fucking up the ecosystem." Right. Yeah, definitely. So then after that summer, I just kept my cats in. And then I noticed because there were ants, we got crickets that eat ants, and we got scorpions, right?
Oh, God.
So, again, cats are fantastic inside. They eat all that crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my cats would love some crickets.
They couldn't get into the attic, right? I don't let them in the attic.
Right.
And up there, we heard the skittle of the scorpions sometimes. And then I found chipmunks because I wouldn't let the cats out. Eating the scorpions, dude. Eating the crickets. And the fucking spiders.
You got like Mutual of Omaha going on.
Ooh, okay, so I got 2 years in the future almost, right? I'm bug free in our house. Every time I hear a bug, I see the chipmunks show up. They know who I am. We communicate. I throw food out there all the time. I want them here, to take care of all my pests. Thank you, Mother Nature, right?
That's so hilarious.
And I'm not using any fucking pesticides whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm telling all of my neighbors the same thing. If you have ants, just fucking leave water outside. It's working for everybody.
That's a great idea, yeah. Well, and I think also that's like an axiological idea because you're instead of just killing the ants, there's no reason to kill for that's all. You're valuing life. There's no reason to harm them if it's unnecessary. That would be an axiological. You should never harm life if it's not necessary. It's ridiculous.
Those ants break down mice. That's all I can tell you. If
Yeah.
we don't have anything that consumes them or breaks them down, we could overrun with whatever Vegas already has. It's just fucking contagious and delicious. That's all I can tell you. But I just find it completely necessary if you're going to go ahead and live in a space that you actually own this space that way. You become part of nature, whether you fucked it up to begin with or not. And this is where you and I agree the most. We take a look at people.
Yeah.
And I believe because we are axiological atheists.
Yeah, exactly.
We recognize pain.
Yeah, exactly.
We recognize the shame they're in, and we look to solve that within. Because people think, like in some of the fields I'm in network marketing, they twist the words around a lot. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And clearly, I'm not a good network marketer because I'm not willing to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to look at my wife with dignity, and I'm willing to treat my little daughter as not someone who was born from shame, but as a fucking person. I mean, at 3 years old, she can tell you fuck off. Oh, you better. Why? Because if she has to tell you again, I'm right there. I'm a stay-at-home parent, bro.
Right.
So it ain't going down like that anymore in my house. The things that happened to me because my parents weren't at home are gone. My wife, home. You know, she's got the life she wants. She's got her business. My daughter, I want to retire by the age of 4. I'm behind. Oh, and I want to retire my parents. I want to retire all my friends that are actually helping humanity.
Right.
I want to, and all of it stems from how we're raised. That first synapse. How you doing, honey? I don't have a charger, honey.
It isn't all due to how we're raised, because that would assume it was all nurture, which that's not accurate. I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm not saying that your feeling is wrong, but accurately, we can say that we as humans do come with a bunch of default baggage called our genetic code. We're predisposed to a lot of different things, heart disease, even addiction or whatever. I mean, so and mental illness and all kinds of other things. I think that the important though is that what you're trying to say, and I would agree with this, is that no matter how troubled a child is in an environment of love, they will always do better.
Yes.
Because what I'm saying is that's no one can argue with that accuracy. That's accurate. That no matter how troubled a child is, if you give them love and you nurture that child, they will certainly be better than if they had one the other way, where the person was harsh. I mean, it's you can see this even in inmates. If you come up to an inmate, a crazy inmate, even one that's in mental illness problems, and you aggressively go at them, dude, all they're going to do is just do the aggressive right back. So,
perfect mirrors.
Well, and I'm not perfect in this, but we need to understand there is a real power in being calm, being kind. If you can see I have dialogues with people where they've started by telling me to go fuck myself, and at the end they're apologizing to me and telling me that they're thankful for the conversation I had. So, I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying I can always do this. I'm not. Sometimes I just have energy, and I got a lot of pain in my life from my foot, and I still I've moved and haven't moved in, and I got to go to doctors, and I got all kinds of stuff. I'm human too. But I just try to slow down, like I was saying about axiology. Yeah. If I'm really an axiologist first, for everything, then my humanity is first, before everything. And I need to put that in front of my eyes constantly. Because I keep forgetting. It's easy. I keep getting angry. I keep going, well, they said these words, or they did these things. But that's them. What about me? What am I doing? What am I saying? So I have to keep doing that. And I keep saying, what am I fighting for? Am I fighting for just so that people stop believing lies, or so that people start believing truth? And I know it's the truth. It has to win. It's way more important than just selling lies being removed. Because if all we do is remove the lies, but don't give any new truth, we're still going to be just as blind.
Yeah. That's empowering them. That's giving them a new ammunition and a way for that lie to evolve into something new. Exactly. We see it with Christianity in this country all the time. All Lives Matter was a response to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter wasn't saying white lives don't matter.
Right.
They were saying we matter too. Why don't we matter? In fact, historically, we've never mattered.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying. And women are saying, we matter. We need full reproductive rights of our children. We need full reproductive rights of our bodies. This is how children are protected. And when women, and if you don't have like the baggage, they don't carry in this country.
Well, just like let's go to those issues right there, axiologically, because Just take those issues you said and just break them down. We'll start backwards since you started at women. So women are people. Done.
Yes.
They need the same rights. This also includes, to me, which I'm an anarcho-feminist, which I think that there's a whole bunch of patriarchy just involved in capitalism in general. It's a system of hierarchy. Someone's at top, someone's at bottom. Someone's a master, someone's a slave. I find it to be extremely, for me personally, not a productive way to interact in a society. But my thing about going back to about women. So women deserve rights, which means that I need to look at the society, like you were saying, and see, do they have equal? And then I can easily assess that no, they don't. I mean, just the fact, like, I've moved several places in my life, right? And right now, my ever since 5 years ago, when my couldn't work anymore because of my truck accident, finally the nerve damage is too much, so I just stopped working. My wife has been working. Well, she's the one making all the income, okay? But everywhere we go, that's from the deep south and stuff. We went to Georgia and went to Missouri. They make me have to be the person that's the main on the account because I'm the man. That's it.
Yeah.
Normally it's whoever makes the most income, but because the state decides, no matter what, the man is always the head. The woman is always below the man.
That's Nevada.
But to me that just shows what the fuck. So, but that's not the only thing, and I think that it's important for people to understand. Me saying that I'm for women's rights and stuff does not mean I'm against man rights. I do think that I had a friend that wanted to get rights for his to see his kids. He was an alcoholic and then he got sober. He was sober for 2 years and they still wouldn't let him see his kids because he said that he had been a danger. Well, he did, but then he got sober. So then he was changing his life. So I don't get why, But I'm saying, so I see there's a struggle there too. I'm for, men having, rights too. I think that fathers are important. And I don't think that the way the religious see it, I just think that a child only sees the parents, only sees the caring. You still there?
I'm still here. I'm still here. It's my camera's
all right.
funny.
So what I'm saying is that to a child, whoever they think is their biological. And this is important. And I'm not saying about, like I said, religion. I'm just talking about the real psychology of human beings. This is a real factor. People even that have sperm donors, right, still want to know who the sperm donor was.
Yes.
So to act like somehow that's an abnormal thing or a religious thing is just stupid. I mean, it happens. Everybody feels this. You know what it is? It's a human thing. It's just because, once again, if you understand the correct ontology is the thingness, in philosophy, the thingness of things, like what something is, like a definition almost. If I say the ontology of a human, I have to say, well, the qualities that are listed under what a human would be. Well, the main quality of human is we process everything emotionally, practically. There's no mind without emotive going on, in a sense. And in fact, when you remove, there was a neuroscience that they removed, or the guy had an accident and hurt his head, whatever, injury, and he actually couldn't feel emotions. And it was actually extremely hard for him to even figure out making a decision that was super small, we would think is irrelevant, like what day to go to the doctor. He couldn't figure out, he had to do a 10-minute, thing for, I think it was something like that, for each day, Tuesday and a Wednesday, which one was better. Gave like a little speech on why each one. The fact that someone can't even navigate the simplest things shows how important emotions really are. You remove emotions from the human, we have a real problem thinking, because, see, you know what emotions does? It gives the weight behind the value.
Yeah.
In other words, when we say, you're a fag, or you're a pussy, that word really, if it was just said in another language and we didn't understand it, it would be meaningless.
Yeah.
You would be just like, blah, blah. And you go, okay, whatever blah, blah, blah means. But so we've put a value on it, that word has some kind of a meaning. and then we put emotional weight to what we think the response should be for that value. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So if I called you a name, I'm trying to actually hijack a value that you already think is there. That's why I can call you a name, because you already you put value that word can hurt people. You understand? But in a sense,
yes.
I mean, I'm not saying, now, don't get this wrong, I'm not saying that words cannot hurt people. I'm just saying that axiologically, if we just step back and evaluate what the word is doing, we can start to see what its power is. But it also, to me, is a power for us as an axiologist, because I can hear a word and I can remove its value and say, you know what, the word fag to me doesn't have any value. Calling me a pussy doesn't have any value. It doesn't mean anything to me. You just made a bunch of fucking noise. Like when the people try to call me fat, just go, yeah, whatever, you're just talking a bunch of noise. Your word is not hurting me, because I am choosing to decide what value the word you just gave me is allowed to have. You do not get to decide what value I have on words. And this is mind freeing for me, because this allows me to not be affected as much by attacks from others, because I just hear a bunch of noise. I just remove the power. It's just a bunch of words.
That's so powerful to hear.
Like I said, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I said, I'm not saying that if you're hurt by words, you should feel bad. Of course you shouldn't. You're a feeling being. You know what we're really good at? Fucking feelings. You know what the feelings we have usually are not always good. But we're still feeling beings.
No, they're not.
I wouldn't give up being a feeling being, because you know what? You also would give up being happy. And I don't know, some of the most beautiful moments in life are when we get to be happy. I mean, removing any feelings would be, life would be not worth living. I'd be like being an ant or like a bee in a colony. You just mindlessly follow and do things. Oh my God, that does not sound like living. But I mean, I'm glad that they enjoy their lives, I guess. They probably really don't think about it. They probably don't have enough mind to contemplate their situation.
That's kind of interesting.
But I do, and we do.
Yeah, we do.
We're so social, and we have things in our society so backwards. We think things like music are extra, stuff like writing are extra, things like science are extra. None of that's extra. That all should be like standard. Like teaching morality to me should be standard. And I'm not saying we have to teach them how to decide if abortion is wrong. No, I'm talking about just the standard of decency between people. We should be teaching this. Human decency should be taught in school. I mean, what really morality should be so harsh on not wanting to be human decency? I'm not talking about a moral system or anything. I'm just saying, hey, see those people over there? Yeah, treat them kindly. Be nice to people. Be thoughtful.
How does that work for a militant anti-theist?
How does it work for me? Simply.
Militant anti-theism. If I'm going to be cracking jokes on religion.
Yeah, but
axiological
I know, but you already said it though. Is a religion a person? Is religion a person?
No.
Does a religion have dignity to violate?
No.
How could it? It's an idea.
Never mind. Answer my own question.
So you answer your own question. That what does an axiologist atheist think about putting down religion? Nothing, because religion. Apathetic, I would say. That's how we would feel. Apathetic. We would.
Full on apathetic. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. It would. Yeah. In other words, an axiological atheist wouldn't go yay always, but they could if it was a own personal. But I'm saying if it was a non-personal thing, and you said, "Here's some stuff. What do you think?" Just as an axiological atheist, not me personally, just like what would axiological atheists, they would think, whatever. Probably good, because if you're putting down religion and God, you're probably doing a good thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, but in general, it would not be that. It would just be pretty much apathetic. It would be like, yeah, whatever. Or it would go, yeah, you're right. The God is a real freaking problem. So thank you for doing it. We need to do more. But it's very, axiological atheist to me would be very clear. It's attack the thinking, not the people. See, because thinking doesn't have value. Thinking is, in fact, dirt, because it's a real property, has more than an innate value of an idea. Now, an idea does have harm or value depending on its distribution. In other words, some ideas are toxic.
Yes.
Now, this is the thing, too. That doesn't mean I'm saying that we need to have some sort of thing where we remove people's rights to use ideas. I'm just saying that we should be held accountable just like we do with behaviors. If you go rape people or if you support rape, to me, this is the bad behavior and a bad thinking. We should attack the behavior. We should attack the bad thinking.
I agree.
So, and if you're attacking bad behavior as an axiological atheist, it would be praising you. If you attack behavior that's harming people, they would praise you. If you support behavior that's supporting people, they would praise you. An axiological atheist would be towards the greatest good and the removing of the harm. But it does not see your offense because your religion is or idea is affected as being a real harm, because it would say that is a pseudo harm. That's a pseudo value you're doing. Because right. you are placing inaccurately. You're saying the $300 car is a $300,000 car. No, it isn't. An idea does not become to the level of value of humans. Your idea is something that you created. So it can be immediately removed. And it has to have its worth, its value justified. Or it's meaningless. What would we think? Nothing. Or it would be negative or positive depending on its proven worth or value.
And that's where we run into a big problem with creationists, I see, and evangelicals. People that...
Well, to them, I probably am the worst atheist. Because I'm the one that actually hates their God concept. I mean, most atheists will give them slack. I'm not a skeptic. I don't doubt shit. Show me something worth calling God and I'll start considering it. Until then, it's an absolutely ridiculous concept. It has no merit at all. There's no part of
not real.
Well, because but you break it down. Of course, it's not real. But we know it's not real because I can break it down logically and prove it's not real. Tell me any quality for God, and then show me where that quality can be found. Any part of that quality could be found in the universe. You can't. Infinity? There's no such fucking thing. Omnipresence? Sorry, nope. Omnibenevolence? Nope. Sorry.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You just start going equality. All of a sudden you realize that you're talking bullshit. Because stars die, everything corrodes, entropy is the death of everything. We can see where the Big Bang. It's moronical to me because everything you're trying to position, all you're saying, and like when they say, well, what happened before the Big Bang? Here's the question to you. Why are you trying to say something that you don't know? You know what that's called? Lying. Fucking lying. Serious, lying. You're a liar. If you say you know, because scientists don't know, if you say you know what started the Big Bang, you know what you're called? A fucking liar. Because you're lying. So religious people are fucking liars. And I'm an axiological atheist, and I realize that, and I will call them a fucking liar to their face. And if you look at my only debate, the one I had in Canada that was only formal debate, you know what I did? I called him a fucking liar in the debate.
You called him a fucking liar in the debate? I fell over?
Yeah, fuck yeah, because he's a fucking liar. They don't want to take on an axiological atheist. I will run morality all over them. That's what I'm all about. But see, I realize too, I need to not just utilize that. That's not the only tool in our arsenal against them. I realize we need to start with a system. So that's why I realize I need to be able to give something I can teach to others. How to really manage these people. In general, or manage all ideas, really. You start with the ontology, which is the thingness of things. You want to know the ontology, because most people realize they can't even get past that. If I asked you, in other words, what I mean by ontology, let's just say that I go up to another humanist, right, and I ask them, hey, do you believe in good? And I'm sure they're going to say yes. But if I ask them, could you define really quickly what good is? Succinctly as possible. From your own words, not reading from something, but since you know what it is, you should be able to explain what it is with your own words, because you know it, correct? If you don't know something, then you cannot explain it from your own words. You'd have to use the words of others.
Correct.
So I make them limit. And I do this to religious people all the time. I love doing this on the street because I immediately show them. And I say, now, just take a second and go ahead and defend yourself to me right now. Why should I know the justification that you're a good? Not just a word. Give me the justification. Well, you know what they do? They have to give me real world things. Well, I take care of my kids, and I try to, I try to be a good person, you know, to my neighbors. And I'm going, yeah. And tell me any of those I can't do as an atheist. None. So your best defense for why you're a good person, and like I said, this applies to religious people too, and I get them with this. So what it applies to a person is real world qualities. So when you want to defend to me that to prove to me you're a real person, you don't use magic, right? You use real world things. So why, if you don't use magic, would you think that I would have to be limited because I don't use magic? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. If you just axiologically break it down and think about what's going on. Yeah, I'm so glad you're a naturalist.
Oh, man.
Since your only way to prove good is naturalism. Yeah. Well, of course, they might throw in, after I say that shit, they might throw in, well, I pray, so, you know, I do trust God. There is faith involved.
No, there isn't. Not in actions. You can't have faith involved. You do not have belief involved.
No. All you have to say is, oh, excuse me, what kind of prayers do you do? Well, what do you mean, what kind of prayers do I do? Well, do you do them publicly or do you do them privately? That's my first question. Because the Bible clearly states you should do them privately, in the closet. The closet. So, we're not to be loud in the public. It clearly states that. So most Christians are already in violation because they constantly go around telling everybody, I'm going to pray for you. Well, that actually is not how threat prayers are not how the prayers are supposed to be working. In fact, to me, if you really understand the Bible, prayers should be this simple. God, I offer myself to you. I will do whatever you want, regardless of my will. Your will be done. I mean, that would be the true religious person's prayer, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much...
that would be, if you told me that was your prayer, I would say then you're a person of faith. Because then you're trusting that whatever God wants is the correct prayer. Because you don't matter. But see, that is the correct prayer for almost any religion. But that's a problem. Because once again, is that not anti-fucking humanism?
Yeah.
You are saying that you don't matter, human doesn't matter, that this other thing's will matters. You're saying that my worth, my desires, my needs, my life isn't even mine. It's actually the deity's. I could not think of a more anti-humanism concept than God. Yeah. And yet everybody somehow thinks that God is what's needed. I'm like, it's the most bizarre. Because I'm an axiological atheist, I'm not going to understand it. It doesn't make sense. I don't see how they can see this. That's also why I think it's weird when people say, well, would an axiological atheist be humanist? I'm like, fuck, we are the humanists.
Yeah, we are.
That's why we're axiological atheists. It's probably a humanist that desired to be an axiological atheist. Not the atheist in the sense that, you know, desires to be an axiological atheist. Because it's your humanism. It's not, because the axiological atheism is not focusing on the disbelief. It's focusing on the disvalue.
Yes.
It's disvaluing concepts of God. It is valuing concepts of human. It is disvaluing divine command moral theory. Like God tells you, you have to do it. Like the commandments. It's saying that stuff is actually horrid. Well, think about it anyway. So funny to me because I always go, oh, well, the Ten Commandments need to be a law. And I'm like, yeah. Which one? Like, there's like one law. Like, don't murder. Don't, steal, maybe. I mean, what other ones are? Don't honor your God, and don't take his name. I mean, no.
Praise me, blow me, wash my ass.
It's like the stuff. Honor your mother and father. Maybe a good idea to do, but for laws.
What if you got no mother and father to honor?
Yeah, well,
Well, I'm just saying, like again, there you go. There's one fucked up thing with those commandments already. You have to honor someone, and you don't have them to honor. Are you fucking broken?
Yeah. Well, and also, what if they're not worth honoring? I mean, it presupposes
that's the other thing.
It presupposes that every parent is wonderful. I'm sorry, my father was a freaking monster. Still a monster to me. In fact, I don't talk to his ass today. I haven't talked to him in years. He abused me fucking severely. He's a fucking piece of, trash to me. I could care less. I mean, it's just a fact. I would feel the same. But this is axiologically, would I feel any different if he was a stranger?
No, you feel the same because of the action and the value.
That's right. So people always go, you should forgive him. And I go, yeah, I understand axiology. Anyone who hurt a child the way he hurt me, I would fucking hate. I'd hate forever. They couldn't even apologize. It wouldn't matter. I go, yeah, you broke that child's tailbone. You made him starve. You humiliated him. You beat him. You punched him. You freaking made him go to school with improper clothing, improper food. I mean, I could just go on and 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 on. All the shit he's fucking done to me. But the point is, I would never want that person as a friend. So nothing changes the fact that just because he's my father, he gave birth to me. That's it.
Yeah.
So because I'm an axiologist, I actually started hating him more as an adult than I did as a child. Because I started realizing, what if this motherfucker had done this to my friend's kid or to my kid or something? How the fuck would I feel? Or to a neighbor's kid? Or, I mean, would I still feel justice? Oh, I'll just let it go. No, I would. I'd let it go.
You get homicidal in a heart.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
So I deserve to protect my child with the same vigor that I would protect another. And so I honor myself by not being anything to do with him. Not being around him, not because I'm honoring that my child doesn't have to. My child says, "Hey, I got hurt," and I as an adult go, "Yeah, I hear you, and I understand, and I won't make you have to go and fucking be around that monster."
Can we touch on the child you're talking about a little bit in everyone?
Sure.
As an axiological atheist, I find myself that I find it easier time connecting to people's children than I do because it's easier for me to dispel the bullshit they come with.
Well, yes, because to me, children are doing something that adults don't do. They're just being present. We like a lot of structures and stuff. We build like whole schemas of stuff. We hold big masks in front of our face so people don't see us. Children haven't learned all that shit. When they tell you, "Hey, I don't like you," we don't do that anymore as adults. When we do it, we usually do it with fucking malicious intent. A lot of times when kids say that, they go like, "Oh, look, that person's fat." They're not, in a sense, not always, the kids sometimes be mean, but I'm saying a lot of times kids think in a way that it's just like they're just acknowledging things. They're not like making the judgments that a lot of times I feel adults do. But adults got more hurt involved because they've had longer times of being disappointed. Because I think that's one of the biggest things in life that we have to overcome is that we can be constantly disappointed. But I think we're disappointed in a wrong way because we don't see the big picture. The big picture is our whole life, not an event. Not that an event doesn't almost shape our whole life, but it does. But it doesn't have to be our destination. In other words, I was raised in severe abuse, and I now have, I'm a high-functioning sociopath. I have a hard time being empathetic as a natural way of doing things for people personally. It's not that hard for me to do it like globally. Like if you said all humans have value, oh yeah, I can do that, no problem. But if you say like this one human has value, I have a little bit hard time. I mean, I have axiology now, so I'm able to figure that out. And I've also been around loving people, and I've really worked on myself and had over 20 years of counseling. I've had individual, I've had group, marriage, sex counseling. I've had family counseling. I had school counseling. I mean, school individual and school group counseling. I mean, I've had lots of counseling. And it's really helped me. And also I got a bachelor's in psychology. So, I mean, and I started my master's in psychology. And that's actually when I became an atheist, was in college.
Wow. Damien, would you mind if we take a short break here, maybe like 10, 15 minutes, and get this
Well, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. We can upload this. Yeah, no problem.
And then come back and maybe do another